All right, let's dive right in, shall we? Today, we're taking a deep dive into Woody Allen's Sleeper,
Sleeper.
a 1973 film that I'm sure many of you are familiar with.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just a wacky sci-fi comedy, though, right? There are a lot of interesting layers to this film.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be using a really insightful article to guide our discussion today.
Okay.
And what I found really fascinating was how this film acts as a time capsule, capturing a lot of the anxieties of the 20th century.
Yeah, it really
We'll
does.
get into all that.
It's funny how it manages to be a hilarious comedy, but also a really sharp satire of the political climate back then.
Especially when it comes to totalitarianism.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It doesn't shy away from depicting a future where the government controls just about everything.
Yeah,
And the article I read, it highlighted how that fear was very real in the 20th century.
for sure. The Soviet Union was a major force at the time.
Right.
And, Allen uses this future setting, this exaggerated future,
Yeah,
to really explore those themes of censorship and control.
exactly.
You see it in how information is stifled, art, personal expression.
It's all very carefully controlled.
Yeah.
And it's done so cleverly, like that scene where they raid Miles' apartment
Oh, yeah.
for having unapproved art and literature.
Right.
You laugh, but it makes you think.
Yeah, it does. It's classic Allen, though, finding the humor in these kind of dark situations.
Exactly.
He forces us to confront these uncomfortable realities while still managing to entertain us.
Mm-hmm.
And what I find fascinating is the way the film uses that humor to highlight the absurdity of it all.
Right, right. And of course, we have our protagonist, Miles Monroe,
Yes.
who wakes up 200 years in the future
Talk about a culture shock.
after being cryogenically frozen.
Right.
He's thrust into this unfamiliar world, a complete fish out of water.
Totally. His journey is a really interesting way to explore the theme of identity.
Oh, for sure.
Miles has to question everything he thought he knew about himself and about the world.
It really makes you wonder, right? Like if all your familiar touchstones were gone,
Yeah.
how much of your identity would actually remain intact?
Right. Is it our experiences, our environment that shapes who we are?
That's the big question.
Or is there some kind of core self that remains constant?
And then how does all of that relate to living under a totalitarian regime where individual expression is suppressed?
That's a great point.
Hmm.
It seems like the film is saying that our identities are always evolving,
Right.
shaped by the world around us.
Mm-hmm.
So in a society that dictates every aspect of your life, what happens to that individual sense of self?
It's unsettling, but it's incredibly thought-provoking. And that's one of the things I love about Allen's work, this blend of comedy with these deeper questions.
He does it so well.
And of course, no Woody Allen film would be complete without a romantic subplot.
Right. Gotta have that.
And in Sleeper, we have Luna.
Luna, yes.
Yeah.
She's such a great character.
Tell me about her.
Well, she's a free spirit, who clashes hilariously with Miles' neurotic personality.
They're complete opposites.
They are, completely. And yet they're drawn to each other.
Their relationship is definitely a source of a lot of the film's humor.
It is.
But it also touches on something quite profound, this idea that love can blossom even in the most absurd and unexpected circumstances.
It's true. And, their connection challenges that idea of a fixed identity.
How so?
Well, their differences force them to confront their own preconceived notions about themselves and the world.
They each help the other to grow.
Yeah, they help each other grow as individuals.
So it's like their love story becomes this microcosm of the film's larger themes
Exactly.
about identity and adaptation.
Right.
It shows how human connection can thrive even in the face of these dramatic changes and societal pressures.
Absolutely. And it's interesting how Allen uses humor to highlight the complexities of their relationship.
Their banter is so witty.
It is. The dialogue is fast-paced, keeps the audience engaged, and subtly reveals all these deeper layers to their personalities.
It's brilliant, really.
Yeah.
So we've talked about totalitarianism, identity, and love. But the futuristic world of Sleeper isn't all laughs, right? There's this underlying critique of unchecked progress
Yes.
and the potential consequences of technology.
Precisely. The film takes a satirical look at our obsession with technology and its impact on human connection.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the invention of the orgasmatron perfectly encapsulates this anxiety.
Oh, the orgasmatron, this
Yeah.
device that promises instant gratification without any real emotional intimacy.
Exactly.
This is hilarious, but it also makes you wonder, are we heading down a similar path?
It does make you wonder, doesn't it?
Substituting genuine human connection for quick fixes and technological substitutes.
A question that's even more relevant today, I think.
Definitely. We're constantly bombarded with new gadgets and technologies promising to make our lives easier.
Yeah.
But are we losing something essential in the process?
It makes you pause and consider what we might be sacrificing in our pursuit of progress.
It does. And Alan isn't afraid to make us uncomfortable with those questions.
He's not.
He forces us to look beyond that shiny facade and confront the potential downsides of this relentless march towards the future.
And he does it all with this really deft touch, balancing that sharp social commentary with the laugh-out-loud humor.
He does.
It's really a testament to his skill as a filmmaker.
Absolutely. Now, I want to delve a bit deeper into the comedic aspects of Sleeper because the article mentions Woody Allen's influences
Okay.
and how they're rooted in classic comedians like Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, the Marx Brothers.
Oh, sure.
So how does that influence manifest in the film?
It's fascinating how he blends those different comedic styles.
Yeah.
You see Chaplin's influence in the physical comedy and the pathos.
Uh-huh.
You got Keaton's deadpan delivery and that anarchic energy of the Marx Brothers.
So it's like he's taken the best elements of classic comedy and infused them with his own unique voice and perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a timeless quality to the humor, but it also feels distinctly modern and relevant. And that's what makes Sleeper so enduring. It's not just a time capsule of 20th century anxieties. It's a timeless exploration of the human condition.
Right.
The fact that it can make us laugh while prompting us to examine ourselves and our world, that's a real testament to Allen's genius.
It is. It really is.
It's that blend of classic and contemporary that makes it so effective. You can see it in the way he uses slapstick, visual gags, for instance.
Oh, yeah. Give me an example.
Well, think about that scene where Miles is trying to blend in at that futuristic party, right?
Okay.
He's wearing this ridiculous oversized nose and glasses.
Yeah.
Pure visual comedy.
I remember that.
Yeah. Drawing on the legacy of someone like Chaplin.
Totally.
Ooh.
Or that scene where he's wrestling with that clunky robot,
Yes.
getting all tangled up in those wires and limbs.
You can't help but laugh.
It's hilarious.
Even though there's that subtle layer of social commentary about our reliance on technology.
Right, right. Alan is a master of layering meaning into these seemingly simple gags.
He is. But it's not just the physical comedy that makes it funny.
What else?
His dialogue. The dialogue is sharp, witty, and full of these unexpected turns of phrase.
Oh, absolutely. There's a scene where Luna describes her art as the futility of trying to relate sexually to a man who wears a truss.
Right.
I mean, it's absurd.
It is.
But it also makes you think about societal expectations around relationships and intimacy.
That's the brilliance of his writing. He can make you laugh out loud 1 minute and then leave you pondering some existential question the next.
Exactly. He's not afraid to push boundaries or challenge our assumptions.
He's not. And it's all delivered with this deadpan delivery that makes it even funnier.
Right. It's like he never winks at the audience.
Never.
He just lets the absurdity of the situation speak for itself.
And that's what sets him apart from so many other comedic filmmakers.
I agree.
He trusts the audience to be intelligent enough to get the joke without having it spelled out for them.
And in doing so, he creates a much more engaging and rewarding experience for the viewer.
For sure. Speaking of engaging the viewer, the article highlighted Sleeper's unique visual style.
Yes.
It's so striking.
It is. You've got these futuristic cityscapes that are both impressive and a little unnerving.
There's a sterile, almost antiseptic quality to the environments.
Right.
It's visually stunning, but also kind of cold and impersonal.
Yeah, which makes sense considering those themes of totalitarianism and the loss of individuality.
Exactly. Those sleek, minimalist spaces really reflect the society's desire for control and order.
Right. It's a world where everything is carefully curated, even human behavior.
And then you have those moments of pure surrealism.
Yes.
Like the giant inflatable banana or that strange blob-like creature Miles encounters.
It's so jarring.
It is so jarring compared to that sleek, controlled environment.
Those surreal elements are crucial, though. They introduce a sense of chaos and absurdity that undermines the regime's attempt to control everything. It's like the human spirit, with all its quirks and imperfections, is pushing back against the sterility and conformity of this future world.
So it's not just about visual flair.
No, not at all.
It's actually serving a thematic purpose.
Absolutely. And it's a reminder that Allen is drawing on a rich tradition of surrealist art.
Like René Magritte.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can see his influence in those unexpected juxtapositions and dreamlike sequences.
It's like Alan is saying, don't take any of this too seriously.
Right.
Even the dystopian future can be a source of humor and wonder.
That's what makes Sleepers so refreshing. It can make you laugh, think, and marvel at its visual ingenuity all at the same time.
It truly is a cinematic experience, engaging both the mind and the senses. But I bet there are some people listening who are thinking, okay, this all sounds interesting, but is a 50-year-old comedy really relevant today?
I think Sleeper is more relevant now than ever.
Really?
Yeah, the anxieties it explores, our relationship with technology, the dangers of unchecked progress, the struggle to maintain individual identity in an increasingly homogenized world.
All very relevant.
These are all issues we're still grappling with today.
And it does it in a way that's entertaining and thought-provoking.
It does. It doesn't offer any easy answers or preachy messages.
No.
It presents these complex issues in a way that makes us laugh, while inviting us to think critically about our own world.
That's the power of satire, right?
It is. It holds a mirror up to society, reveals our follies and anxieties in a way that's both humorous and insightful.
Sleeper reminds us that even in the darkest of times, even in a dystopian future, there's still room for laughter, love, and that resilience of the human spirit.
It's a reminder that we don't have to take ourselves or the future too seriously. And sometimes the best way to confront our fears is to laugh at them.
Absolutely. So with all these layers of meaning, the humor, the visuals, how do you think someone watching Sleeper for the first time today would interpret its message?
I think they would be surprised by how relevant it feels, especially the film's critique of technology and its impact on human connection
Right.
that resonates so deeply in our current era.
With the rise of social media, the increasing reliance on algorithms,
Yeah.
that constant bombardment of information,
Right.
those anxieties about losing our individuality feel even more pertinent today.
They do. It's fascinating to think about how Alan might satirize our present-day obsessions.
If you were making Sleeper today.
Yeah. What do you think would be the modern-day equivalent of the Orgasmatron?
Ooh, that's a great question. Maybe some kind of virtual reality experience
Okay.
that promises ultimate happiness and fulfillment,
Okay.
but leaves you completely detached from the real world.
That's a good one. Or maybe an algorithm that filters out any information that challenges your worldview,
Ooh!
creating this personalized echo chamber that just reinforces your existing biases.
It's a bit unsettling to think about,
It is.
but that's the power of Alan's work.
Yeah.
He makes us laugh, but he also makes us think critically.
About the choices we make and the direction we're headed as a society.
And that's something that transcends time and cultural context. Whether you're watching Sleeper in 1973 or 2023, that core message remains the same.
Beware of easy solutions, question authority, and never lose your sense of humor.
Well said. It seems like we've covered a lot of ground already.
We have.
But we haven't even touched upon one crucial aspect highlighted in the article: Sleeper's enduring legacy. Why do you think this film continues to resonate with audiences decades after its release?
I think it's because Sleeper taps into something universal about the human experience.
Like what?
It goes beyond just being funny. It speaks to those deep-seated anxieties about the future, the fear of losing ourselves in the face of overwhelming change, the desire for connection in a world that's becoming increasingly isolating.
It does all of that.
It captures those timeless human dilemmas, and it does so with wit and intelligence.
And it's just fun to watch.
Oh, absolutely. Sleeper's just plain fun to watch.
Agreed. Those visual gags, the witty dialogue, the sheer absurdity of it all. It's a film that never fails to make me laugh. Speaking of the visuals, we talked about how the futuristic world of Sleeper reflects those societal anxieties.
Right.
But what about the way the film draws inspiration from older sci-fi movies?
Oh, yeah.
The article mentioned Metropolis and things to come, right?
Yes, and that's a crucial aspect of the film's aesthetic. You see it in those towering cityscapes, the sleek designs, almost Art Deco inspired, the buildings and technology. It's a nod to that earlier era of sci-fi.
Okay.
But Alan reinterprets those influences through a modern lens.
It's like he's saying, look, we've been grappling with these anxieties about the future for a long time.
Right.
And those anxieties keep evolving, manifesting in new ways.
Exactly. And the fact that he draws on those classic sci-fi tropes makes the film feel both familiar and strange. It's grounded in a visual tradition while simultaneously subverting our expectations.
It's interesting how those visuals play into the film's satire.
How so?
Like those pristine, sterile environments. They're initially impressive, but then they start to feel oppressive.
Right.
Almost dehumanizing.
It's subtle, but effective. The way Alan uses the visuals to reinforce the film's themes. Those sleek, minimalist spaces become a metaphor for the society's desire for control, for order, for uniformity.
And then you have those moments of pure visual comedy that break up that sterile aesthetic.
Oh, like what?
Like the scene where Miles and Luna are hiding in those giant inflatable pods.
Right.
Or when Miles tries to disguise himself by wearing that ridiculous nose and glasses.
Those moments are so important. They inject this sense of chaos and absurdity into that otherwise controlled environment.
It's a reminder that human nature, with all its quirks and imperfections, can't be fully contained or controlled.
We can't control it.
And it's like those bursts of visual comedy are a form of rebellion against the stifling conformity of this future world.
Interesting.
They're a celebration of individuality,
Right.
of the things that make us human and unpredictable.
Yeah. And don't forget the influence of surrealist art, especially Magritte.
Yes.
Those unexpected juxtapositions, the dreamlike sequences.
Mm-hmm.
They add this layer of visual intrigue that keeps the audience on their toes.
It's like Alan is inviting us to question everything we see,
Yeah.
to not take anything for granted,
Right.
even in the seemingly rational, scientifically advanced future. Which makes me wonder, if sleepers were being made today, what aspects of our current society would be ripe for satire?
That's a fascinating question.
Yeah.
I think Alan would have a field day with our obsession with social media.
Oh,
The
absolutely.
way we curate our online personas, the constant need for validation and likes.
Imagine a scene where Miles tries to navigate the complexities of social media etiquette,
Oh, I love that.
accidentally sparking a viral trend that leads to mass hysteria.
That's great. Or maybe he stumbles upon a secret society of influencers
Oh.
who control the world's information through these carefully crafted algorithms.
That's a bit unsettling to think about.
It is, but that's the power of Alan's work, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
He makes us laugh, but he makes us think critically about those choices we make and the direction we're heading as a society.
It's a message that resonates deeply, even 50 years after the film's release. So for those listening who haven't seen Sleeper yet, what would you say is the one takeaway they should keep in mind?
I would say this. Sleeper is a film that will make you laugh, think, and question the world around you.
Okay.
It's a timeless reminder that even in the face of absurdity and uncertainty, the human spirit, our capacity for love and laughter, can prevail.
Well said. And for those who have seen the film,
Yeah.
I think it's worth revisiting.
Oh, for sure.
You might be surprised by how much more you discover with each viewing,
You do.
how its message continues to resonate in new and unexpected ways.
Absolutely. Sleeper is one of those rare films that rewards repeated viewings.
I agree. It's a gift that keeps on giving, offering new insights and laughter with each experience. So, to wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
I want to leave you with this thought. If you woke up 200 years in the future, what aspects of our current society would seem the most absurd or shocking to your future self?
Ooh, interesting.
What future shock would you experience? It's something to ponder as you go about your day.
It's a question that invites us to step outside of our present moment and imagine a world vastly different from our own.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows, maybe by examining those potential future shocks, we can gain a new perspective on the choices we're making today.
Well, on that note, it's time for us to sign off.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Sleeper. We hope you enjoyed the journey.
It was fun.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep laughing.
I like that.